Welcome everyone to our Seed Processing Solutions webinar. We're glad you're here with us. Let's go ahead and get started. We have a full agenda today. First, we'll start with some basic introductions and housekeeping, followed by an overview of what seed processing systems are, the equipment available in the product line, some examples of seed processing systems. And I know a lot of folks are familiar with Almaco Service that are on this webinar, but as a refresher, and for those who might not know, we will cover a little bit about our aftermarket support. We do have a very special announcement coming at the end of the presentation, so please stay to the end if you can. We'll end with the Q&A. We definitely want to hear from all of you. My name is Lisa Dirksen. I'm the marketing manager here at Almaco. With me, I have Chris Etter. He's the senior inside sales rep here, and he will be covering the majority of the presentation today. Matt Titus is also here with us to talk a little bit about Almaco Service, and we have Almaco electrical engineer Jake Challen here to support with the Q&A. For this webinar, all participants are muted. To ask questions, please use the Q&A feature at the bottom of the screen. You can ask questions at any point during this webinar or wait until the end if you prefer. After this webinar, within 48 hours, you'll receive a recording of this webinar, additional resources, and contact information if you'd like to connect with us. We'd also like you to know that while this presentation is about seed processing systems, Almaco is a total solutions company for seed research clients. We provide solutions for seed processing systems, planting systems, field systems, and harvesting systems, as well as aftermarket services, engineering services, manufacturing services, and financial services to our clients. And with that, I'm going to pass this along to Chris Etter from Inside Sales at Almaco to take us through this presentation. Chris, what can you tell us about seed processing systems?
It's a line of equipment that we put together that will help streamline your processes, whether it be for threshing or shelling, and then cleaning, grading, sorting by color, seed, treating, and then packaging. It's something that we've been doing for a number of years, at least, I would say at least the last 20 or more. And really the goal is to make sure that you, have better, accurate results. And, your seed is 100% cleaned, sorted, treated, and ready to plant or package. And the goal is to reduce your the amount of times you handle the seed and contamination. All of our equipment, or I should say most of our equipment, is modular in the fact that you can use it as standalone units, or you can incorporate it into a processing line, which allows a fair amount of customization that can be done that is going to meet the each customer's needs. So why would you want to do this? And really what it comes down to is it's going to add value to your operation. What we try to do is make as much of it as autonomous as possible, removing unnecessary labor, where you're feeding each piece of equipment by hand. You can reduce your workforce. Not that you want to get rid of people, but it's a labor savings measure and time savings. It also reduces some of your initial overhead costs. And then it also reduces the risk of human error in the data management and processing of your seed. With how the line is laid out in barcode scanners and labels and things of that nature. And then you can speed up your processing time when it comes to your seed samples, where you have a multi-step process and you turn it into one continuous flow. In the end, it compiles all of your data into one source, to where everybody has access to it that within the company. And we can also scale it up to the specific needs. Sometimes we have people that start with just a standalone equipment and or maybe just maybe one or two pieces of equipment. And again, because you can integrate them into a line, you can always scale that up, as budget and time allows.
Okay, next we'll be talking about the specific components of
the seed processing line. Chris, can you tell us a little bit about each of these?
Yeah. So as we walk through this, I'll try to give a good overview of what it is and what it's for. But again, there's so much we got to get through in a short amount of time. So to start with is a downdraft table, and there are a couple different sizes of this particular unit. And what this would do would be at the beginning of your process, where you would put your, say, bags of ear corn on it, or bags of threshed material, or even still plant material. And it's basically pulling any dust particles out as you're starting your process. So as we get into the threshers and shellers, we'll cover most of them. Kind of give you a general idea of what each one is for. Most of our equipment is going to be multi-crop setup, but there are certain things that are crop specific. So on the threshers, we start with the smaller units where you have a belt thresher or a BT14 single plant thresher. That one is going to be a multi-crop machine minus corn, and is really good in potted plants or grain heads. You think about like soybeans or edible beans or wheat. Several configurations of that particular machine that can be used. The small bundle thresher is something that where you're going to be able to put smaller say sheaves of material through it. And again, it is a true multi-crop machine minus corn. And the crops that you're threshing is going to dictate basically what threshing cylinder and concave you use. And multiple cylinder and concave setups can be provided. The small Vogel plot thresher, this is really designed for one, a single plant, unless you're maybe doing some wheat heads or rice, where you can do, maybe 4 or 5 at a time. Again, it's going to be set up similar to a small bundle thresher, where there's multiple threshing cylinder configurations available. And, depending on the crop, it's going to dictate, again, what cylinder we need. So we jump up into the larger threshers, the low profile plot thresher. That one is a towable unit that will work in all crops, including corn. Basically, what you would do to use it in multiple crops is you just have one single sieve that you would change out. And so there's some other options like air delivery and air compressor and belt feeding and things like that. But I would say that's probably the most versatile thresher out of the large towables, because it can do every single crop. Next, you jump into the large plot thresher, and this one is a top-fed unit versus the LPR or low profile, which is more like a standard combine with an underslung concave. The large plot thresher is used in several types of crops minus the corn. We see a lot of soybeans, edible beans, wheat, and the threshing cylinder is interchangeable as well, similar to the small bundle and the small Vogel. The large Vogel plot thresher is what's called the Vogel style capacity or high capacity thresher, and this is used a lot in what I would say is cereal grains, and it is designed to push a lot of material through, out in the field or in your facility, and it's been around since the 60s is when that design came out, or 50s, late 50s, early 60s. And so that's one, like I said, it's going to be used a lot in small grains or cereal grains. And then we move on to the sheller equipment, and these are crop specific. And so you have the Mazer, which is a large batch or a large ear corn sheller that can be used for single ear or large batch. Depending on the situation, it can be used as a standalone, and is fairly common to be one of the starting processes in a seed processing line. Then next we go on to the Mazer SES, and this is a single ear corn sheller. It is, you can only get one ear at a time in this machine. It is designed to clean out 100% after each ear, and you could process an ear in about anywhere from 2 to 10 seconds, depending on the ear size and, if it's a large hybrid or a small haploid. And then finally, we come down here to the Air Blast Seed Cleaner. This is just a little benchtop model that we use to do some final cleaning of your sample once it's been run through a thresher and through the winnowing air on that machine. It's pretty compact, and you have 4 different interchangeable screens available, and the screen size is going to be determined by what crops you're going to clean with it. So the portable seed lab, well, what this is if you don't have, say, budget or the need for a combine where but you still need to take data collection, you can pair this portable seed lab with any of our threshers. And once the material is threshed and you pour your seed into it, it has the D1 data collection, a mobile demand handheld. It runs off the harvest software. And so it'll take your weight, moisture, and test weight, and then save it back to the file. So a little easier way than using a handheld GAC or something. So I mentioned the D1 data collection unit. So this is the replacement for the Seed Spectre LRX. And so this particular unit is a direct, pretty much 1-to-1 replacement, pretty much for it. There's a little bit of differences where you have an app on the tablet now instead of having a screen. You don't have to worry about internal batteries, so you don't lose, your moisture and weight curves because your battery goes dead. It's weather tight. It's durable. You can mount it anywhere on the combine or on a portable seed lab. You don't have to remove it at the end of the day. Once it's mounted, and you don't have to worry about moisture or dirt and dust in it. And it will take a reading no matter what crops you're working with. It's all based off of the weigh system and what data it's sending back. You can use it on plot combines. You can use it on a portable seed lab. It's compatible with machines with packagers and seed processing equipment. Okay, so we're going to get into some of the seed processing portions or items now. So we have what we call the conveyor systems, and so there's a couple different types that we use. So say like on a main conveyor, it's fully enclosed, and your threshers or shellers would mate up to it, and there'd be dust collection that's hooked to it, and you'll see as we get further into the slide some examples. But basically, it's a way for all of the waste that comes out of the thresher to be removed out of the building, and without having to manually touch it. The cob conveyor, it works in conjunction with the mazer, and that is going to basically take the cobs after the ears are threshed and put them into some sort of storage, whether it's a dumpster or a garbage can or something of that nature. And we've even in past lines we've put them through a wall where the dumpster's not even in the same room as it. So aspirating, and one of the things that we, when you're talking about seed cleaning and processing, you want the cleanest sample possible before it gets to the next stage. And so when we transfer seed to like the Seed Boss, we like to have it run through an aspiration system. So it basically, once it cycles, the corn or beef seed goes through an aspirator. There's dust collection hooked up to it, so it'll take in final little bees wings or light material, or if there's any seed that may be really light, it could pull them out, but then they get sent through down to a discard chute and saved, so they're not lost. So this is our Seed Boss. It's an orbital seed sizer. You can use this machine to basically grade any type of seed out there. We have multiple screen configurations for sift and scalp. It's adjustable, so if you have smaller seeds, you can flatten it out so it doesn't run down, and you get a better grade on your seed, so to speak. It's very, very quiet operation. It really doesn't, it's running, but it's just because you hear, some of the things, the internal moving around inside of it. So our color sorter and seed counter, we use what's called the metrics or the VMEC. This can be used as a standalone or integrated into the say, a full processing line. It has a very easy interface to work with. It's very fast. I guess it has a high rate of count in count in sort, and you can do it in a batch. Like normally in a seed processing line, it would be a batch of so many pounds of seed at one time, or it could be continuous flow if you were doing large bulk samples. We have several types of treaters that are available. That you can treat anything from as few as 50 kernels up to 20 to 25 pounds or even 50 pounds of seed, depending on which one. The most common one that we would use in, say, processing line would be the R12 on the roller stand up in the top left of the picture. The one below it is what we call the R6, and it's more of a benchtop model where it's going to be, very small quantities, maybe anywhere, 5 to 20 seeds, depending on the seed itself. And then if you're in a larger continuous, setup, we would use the R25, which is where you're, treating up to 50 pounds of seed at a time. So to make all this work, you basically have to have transfer systems, and that means that we're transferring the seed from one step in the process to the next. And so in this example, what we're doing is we are shelling with a mazer, we are transferring the seed to a seed boss, and then the seed from the seed boss then is transferred to the top of the stand above the VMEC, and that's when then the VMEC will do the counting and this color sorting. And then from there, the good seed, the numbers that you want treated, then fall into the R12 seed treater. We do have several lines out there that use what we call waste grinding. And that would be where any of the trash material that comes out of the back of the thresher will go onto a conveyor and then fed into a grinder. It basically decreases the regulated waste disposal cost because you're basically turning it into very fine material. And it also has a separate dust collection for that particular or a section of dust collection for that particular unit. So in part of this that we have to do on the seed processing lines is you basically have a brain that runs it, and that's what we call the control system. That control system is going to manage how and when things happen in the step or in the process. It's going to control the timing, how long the air is going to be open for the seed to flow to the next place. It's going to control timing on the time of the treatment for the seed. Basically, how much you want packaged, it's going to be part of the recipe. And then it's also managing data. And in the end, it's going to print your label with, the information that you want on it. So part of the control system is the software and the labels. What you're seeing is some examples of labels that we have created or that Jacob has created in the past for certain customers. Every line that has a control package is going to have this custom software to meet your specific need. It's not just a one size fits all, because we understand that every customer wants to see something a little different on their barcode or on their labels. So to do that, then our team will basically sit down and get an understanding of what you want to see. It could be tied into what you maybe already have on your barcodes with an addition of something else or another identifiers. And at the end of the process, when the cycle is complete, it's going to print your label out, and basically you're able to put it on that packet and then scan it at a later date to know what it is, or view the label and it'll tell you what it is. So part of the processing line itself is there's a lot that goes on with it. And so in the beginning, if you're thinking about putting a full line or even a mini line, then we would want to, come out, visit your site, verify your layout, make sure there's enough room to do what you want to do, ceiling heights and things of that nature. And then we would provide information on what's needed, as far as, dust collection locations and things like that. But the electrical and dust collection are basically roughed in at that point. And then those are done by an outside source. Those would be done by your electrician or whoever's doing your dust collection installation, your HVAC person. When you're ready for us, then we would come out and do the installation. We would put all of our equipment in. We would do the connections for dust collection, plumb for the equipment for compressed air, run all the seed transfers, assemble stands. And then once all of it's done, we pretty much run everything through a quality check and test runs, and then help you get set up as far as your recipes and timings and calibrations on everything. And then once that's all done, then our field service technicians that are out there would either perform the training at that point or come back when you're ready to start it up in January or February, depending on when the install's done.
Great. And now we'll transition into some examples. We saw the components individually, talked about what those entail, but how do they all come together to create a system of some kind to support our clients?
Okay, so we have the ability to create what we would call a complete corn line, a soybean line, or a multi-crop line, or what we call a mini line. And so on a corn line, basically you would have everything start to finish would be as it's laid out pretty much in the overview, where you're going to start with a downdraft table. You're going to scan in your sample. We have an option for an in-feed table if you want to in-feed it, if you want to in-feed your material into the mazer versus, hand feeding it. So then the mazer would shell your corn. The clean corn or your shelled sample is going to get transferred, and the cob conveyor is going to take, the cobs away into a trash receptacle or bin. The corn is going to get transferred to the seed boss, and at that point, it's going to be graded, and your good seed will go to the stand for the VMEC, where it'll get sorted and counted. At that point, there is an optional weigh hopper that we can put underneath it, so you can get a weight on the number of good seeds that come through. And then once it's sorted, it's going to go to the seed treater. And then at that point, anything that's remnant or discard is going to be saved. You have that option to kick so much remnant seed out. And then anything else that's discard will be saved. And you have the opportunity to either throw it away or store it away for a later date. And then when you have a full corn line, then this is where the whole control system comes into play. For your print labels and to actually control the timings and everything in between. So a soybean line, and this is going to show what a typical threshing plenum would look like for soybeans or other crops potentially. So we start with belt pressures or a small Vogel plot pressure, one of the two or both. Your material that's threshed is going to go into the trash conveyor, and then taken to the waste grinder. We have options where you can start with a downdraft table. You have the scanners; you can scan it in, no different than what we do on a full corn line. Once the seed is threshed, then you can run it through the seed boss. It can be run through your VMEC color sorter counter. It could be treated, and we still have the same remnant and discard seed options in the control package. So when we talk about a multi-crop line, what we're looking at is a conveyor system that will accept, say, like the threshers, a belt thresher or a small Vogel plot thresher. And in this case, you see where it's set up for corn as well. And the threshers themselves could be set up for different crops. So you could have one that's set up for soybeans. You could have one that's set up for wheat. You could have one that's set up for sorghum, all attached to the same conveyor. And in this case, the seed bosses could be set up, with certain screens for one set up for soybeans, one set up for corn, with additional screens that could be changed out for other crops. And then on a mini line, what we call the mini line is something where maybe the customer is only going to start with, say, like they just a mazer and a seed boss, or a thresher and a seed boss. And we have special transfers that we can use to go from those two pieces of equipment. It could be a full, pneumatic transfer like what you see in the model, or we have, some pneumatic air transfers that are a manual with a push button or a foot switch, and you collect it, right there at the machine.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Chris. I think that was a great overview of the seed processing lines. Now, looking at the people that are on the phone today, I know a lot of you are familiar with our service here at Almaco, but for those who aren't, and just as a refresher, we're going to pass it over to Matt Titus. He's just going to talk a little bit about our aftermarket services that tie into seed processing lines, but then other products as well.
Thanks, Lisa. So just to give a brief overview, again, like Lisa said, I'm sure some of you have seen this before, but we'll just cover some of it again. So Almaco offers global support. And what does that mean? It means we have a 24/7, 365 technical support representative that's on call to best assist you with your needs. And if you need on-site service, we are set up to have one of our trained field service technicians on site as fast as possible to provide resolutions for your down equipment, or for any PMs that you might want to get done at the same time. Just for an example, last year we were able to provide on-site service on 6 different continents. And how do we do this? So we strategically have 3 different locations on 2 different continents that we were able to dispatch parts and technicians from. The first place being Almaco's global headquarters here in Nevada, Iowa. This is our main production facility for all of our equipment and parts. This is also where we house our engineering staff to aid in any customization or to develop new products. We also have our central service department here that is capable of handling any repair or service for Almaco equipment. So whether that be, the main things that people think of, planters and combines, but if you have some of those small threshers, you want to send them in for an upgrade or for some type of addition, or just to be PM, we can do that here as well. Our second location is in Uberlândia, Brazil. Here we manufacture some of the smaller products and parts, so you might see some of the smaller threshers that are produced there and dispatched out of there. This also serves as a service center and a parts depot. And lastly is our newest location in Argentina, which serves as a service center and parts depot. So no matter your location or time of day, Almaco can provide complete client service. Within our service department, we have 3 primary departments to better serve you. We have a call center, central service, and field service groups. Our call center is staffed with knowledgeable professionals that are on call 24/7 to support you with either ordering parts, scheduling that service, technical support, or aftermarket questions. Our central service locations located in Iowa, Brazil, and Argentina. We are able to support our clients with repairs and routine maintenance, but also equipment upgrades and customization, as I mentioned before. Lastly is our field service technicians, who are able to provide service support and repairs on site and or in the field. So wherever you're working, our capable team will be able to keep your equipment running. So as part of our pledge to keep your equipment up and running, we offer a Precision Plus preventive maintenance program. Ultimately, this is designed to help reduce overall cost of ownership by planning ahead, at the beginning of the season, going over that piece of equipment, doing inspections, identifying things that we feel could be potential hazards going forward that could be create a downtime event, and just creating that peace of mind. We offer PM specific to each piece of different equipment, what that includes, the equipment inspection, maintenance checks, cleaning, replacing components, and standard maintenance like lubricating and calibrating. We can do these either on site or here at one of our central service locations, whichever is your preference. And some things to note is we do offer discounts for these. So like if you want us to come on site and get multiple pieces of equipment, we can offer a type of discount on those. So just some different pieces of equipment examples for our PM programs. Again, most people know it's harvesters, planters, threshers. We do offer seed processing line ones. I don't feel people probably know that. A lot of that is tailored more towards the type of equipment in your line. So if you have a thresher, there's a thresher PM. If you have a mazer, there's a mazer PM, and all that can be custom tailored to the line you have. And in addition, there are other things such as automated packager systems that we do PM or things related to our planning systems, like what we consider a carousel or a verifier. Industry leading support. So just some last little bit to talk about. We have the right parts right now. And what does that mean? So we pledge to have the right parts. It means we pay close attention to what parts are needed seasonally to make sure that we have an adequate inventory of those items during peak seasons to reduce downtime and keep you running. We also offer the best in class warranty for exceptional peace of mind on parts and repairs performed by Almaco provide exceptional peace of mind. We want you to feel as confident in your equipment as we feel in providing it to you. Other items we talk about that we offer as part of a service group is in-field orientation for an application review. So you commonly hear us refer to these as IFOs or ARs. So IFO or in-field orientation is typically when a piece of equipment is brand new and you purchase it from Almaco. So what we like to do is after it's set up, so specifically to a seed processing line, once it's set up and installed, we will schedule this with the primary operators and the leads of the site with our field service technicians. They will walk you through how to calibrate it, maintenance, explain to you the different types of equipment, and show you how to run it. And in the case of any specific control systems, how to create the different recipes and how to run those recipes and modify them. So adversely, an AR is very similar to an IFO. These are more for people that already own different pieces of equipment. So let's say it's a new year and you got some new operators and you just need a refresher course. We can come on site and offer something like that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Matt. That was a great overview. And before we get to the Q&A, we just have one quick announcement here. We are running a special promotion on seed processing systems. So it's a kind of a two-part promotion here. One side of it is 20% off installations and 20% off of project management for new lines. That's available for the United States, the lower 48 states. Your order has to be placed by September 1st. And some qualifications on that. That is a new seed processing system, and that has to include your control system, your VMAC, your universal stand, that's the stand for the VMAC, and at least one thresher or sheller, which is a fairly consistent breakdown of the line usually too. The other side of it is that if you have a current system and you're looking at upgrading your control system, you can save over $9,000 right now. It's a global promotion. Again, your order must be placed by September 1. It has to be installed by Almaco. For more information about what's entailed in those, definitely let's connect with our sales folks here at sales@almaco.com. I'll send the information out after this webinar, so you'll have that at a ready date. But again, this can be customized to your needs as well. We just want to start that conversation and let you know. And it's actually a pretty big deal because it's our first ever seed processing line promotion that we're running. So it's a great time to adopt that technology. Really appreciate the time today. Like I said, I'm going to send out a recording of this, so you'll have that for your resources and assets long term. We'll also give you contact information so you can connect with sales directly. And I think a lot of this is just custom scoping. What is your needs for your particular operations, and then kind of backing into it from here. So if you're interested in some automation, interested in simplifying your processes and making sure your data is as clean as possible, we want to hear from you, and we'll see what we can do for all of you. So with that, thank you so much. Have a great day, and don't be strangers.